Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 9:52 a.m. We are on to our final interview for the morning, and we're going to be talking about World Press Freedom Day 2023. And our guest is Executive Director at the South African National Editors Forum, and that is, of course, Reggy Moalusi. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us. Good morning, Julie. Good morning to your listeners as well.
All right, so we look at World Press Freedom Day. It happens every year. Every year there's obviously a theme for the year. Let's understand the importance of World Press Freedom Day. What does it mean to people like you and myself and other journalists and people in the media?
Well, look, it's 3 decades now of us celebrating this day. It's a very important day. It's a day that was declared by UNESCO at a special assembly sitting 30 years ago. And to answer your question, what does it mean? It means a lot. It means a lot because the work that the media does, the work that journalists do all over the world, it's work of critical importance. It's work that needs to be respected, upheld, and supported. It's work that we in the media are passionate about. But on the same breath, we need to realize that much as we are passionate about the work that we do, there are those who don't like what we do. There are those who hate
Absolutely.
what we do. There are those who want to shut us up. There are those who want to kill us. There are those who want to shut down our media houses. There are those who just abhor journalists and the media. So we need to be cognizant of that. So on such a day, it's a day that we really need to appreciate and continue with the education that says we shouldn't recognize the importance of the work journalists do only on such days. We should do it throughout the year. And how can we do that? We can do that by respecting the media. We can do that by respecting journalists. We are quite fortunate here in South Africa that all we see really is the cyber misogyny of against women journalists. We see intimidations, we see threats, we see bullying, but we haven't quite see journalists being killed, journalists being jailed. Throughout in most parts of the African continent, that's exactly what happens. Some parts of Asia, like in the Philippines, there are critical journalists that are not free, that are always harassed. If you go to South America, Mexico is one of the worst. So, yes, there's still a lot to go, there's still a lot to do across the world. But this day, to go back to your question, is quite important for us.
You know, as you speak and you talk about journalists being killed in war zones, we know that is a reality. I guess we here in South Africa are fortunate that we haven't seen that playing out here. And of course, women journalists being harassed. That happens a lot all around the world as well. You spoke about something else that is very important, journalists being imprisoned. We know Al Jazeera has got two of their journalists that are in Egyptian prisons, and I think it's 3 years on. They can't get them released. We've heard the story of Shireen Abu Akleh, the Palestinian journalist that got killed by the Israeli occupiers. And then we also know the story, which seems to be dying, and I hope that people like yourself, and ourselves can keep that story alive. The jailing of Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks story. And it is so important that he be released and not be prosecuted, imprisoned for life, or whatever is going to happen to him. He's been in jail for such a long time. And that is very, very worrying indeed, is it not?
Quite worrying, because there's no investigative journalist, there's no journalist that should be jailed for merely doing their work. I mean, as we speak now, if we look at what's happening in Russia, there's a Russian government that has imprisoned the Wall Street journalist, and across the world, organizations like Committee to Protect Journalists have spoken out against that. So we need to continue speaking about that. And as you rightly say, while you try to address the one aspect, the one part, there's always the other one that's popping out. There's always the other case. And then the Julian Assange case that you are mentioning has been raging on for years. And I think as an organization here in South Africa and across the continent, across the world, we have spoken out against this to say he cannot just be jailed for merely doing his work. And we need to continue speaking out against that. And I think there's a whole lot of other cases that we really need to attend to, we need to address. So the Julian Assange one is one among the many that we really have to keep on talking about.
Let's talk locally and internationally. We do know that different journalists give different narratives to stories depending on your political leanings. There are those that are very leftist and those that are very far right. Um, is it still possible for them to give almost a fair account of whatever it is that they're reporting on?
Look, I mean, the basic tenet that we are taught in journalism school is that as a journalist, you need to be fair, you need to be balanced. But as you rightly say, the objectivity of journalists has come into question to say, are journalists really objective? And we have always spoken out against this to say any journalist, any self-respecting journalist shouldn't be leaning towards any political faction, shouldn't be leaning towards any certain faction that favors a certain propaganda or certain thinking. Journalists should be able to report fairly on everything, and they should do so in a balanced manner. So I think newsrooms, I think editors, that's what we need to train our journalists to do. That's what we need to fight on a daily basis to say, as an editor running a newsroom, that's what you need to keep check of. You need to keep check of what kind of reporting your journalists are going towards. Are they really being fair? Are they really hearing the other side of the story? And are they representing all voices that needs to be represented in stories?
Captured media houses and captured journalists, it does seem to be a thing of the day, does it not? It's happening in South Africa, as is happening all around the world. Your thoughts?
Well, look, Julie, I wouldn't say I know of a captured media house here in South Africa. I'm a South African. I live here. I work with a whole lot of editors. There are various owners with business interests, but I haven't. I mean, I'm sitting here, what, 2 years, almost 3 years into this position. No one has come to me with evidence that says he has a captured media journalist, he has a captured media house. This Friday, as part of this week's activities, we are debating that. We have an event at Wits University on Friday, and we are trying to ventilate that. I mean, we send out surveys, we send out all kinds of things to newsrooms, but I haven't had anyone coming to me with solid evidence that says here's a captured media house where we can say, let's go and engage the owner, let's go speak to the owner, let's go hear why is he going towards a certain political view or whatever not, or is favoring certain political parties. Hence, we always caution politicians when they want to attack journalists publicly, accusing them of favoring certain politicians or political parties. So I don't have any evidence. I can't sit here and say to you, here's a captured media house or captured journalist. Of
Okay,
course,
I posed that question with a global overview because it does happen in other parts of the world. But should you find yourself in a situation like that, complaints against a captured journalist or a media house for that matter, how would you deal with it?
well,
I'm
with
just kind of
that,
one.
I mean, if you look at what we have done with the ethics barometer and the ethics inquiry, I mean, what came out of that and the recommendations of Judge Judy Searchwell when we are dealing with issues around ethical conduct in newsrooms, we dealt fully with that. We launched a full inquiry, which was quite expensive, but it was worth it. And after that inquiry, we came up and said, there are a whole lot of recommendations that we need to follow And we did exactly that. We followed up on those recommendations and we are still working on that. So if such evidence comes up, it's a serious matter, and being a serious matter, we'll have to follow it up and then look at the appropriate action and appropriate steps that we can take.
Okay, let's leave it there. Happy World Press Freedom Day to you and all our counterparts all around South Africa and around the world. Um, I end off by saying that, we look to the press, we look to the media houses to keep us in the loop, to keep us informed, to let us know what is happening out there. We trust them implicitly, and let's upkeep that. So lovely talking with you. All the very best. And someone has
Thank you.
just written in, Hanifa Bagas. She says, great topic, Julie. Jazakallah so much. So, of course, I need to share that with you as well, Reggie. Someone's thoroughly enjoyed this discussion. So share in it with me as well. You go well to possibly next year the same time when we talk about this great day again, World Press Freedom Day.
Thank you. Thanks, Julie.
God
Have a
bless.
great
God
day.
bless.
Have a great.
Thank
You
you.
too,
Thank
man.
you as well.
Ciao.
It is 3 after 10 o'clock, and that, of course, means a wrap up time for me. Hanifa, thank you. You've just made my day. Keep listening and keep sending those comments in. Let's shout out to our production team, and that's you, Naz Naidu, and of course, Abdul Salam. Thank you for controlling everything behind the scenes. We sincerely hope that everyone else has enjoyed the show this morning. From me till Monday morning at the same time, as always, take care on the roads. Keep safe. Assalamu alaikum and khudafiz from me, Julie Ali.